Hello everyone, in this video we will be seeing part 11 of What If Naruto Was in the DC Universe. So be sure to stick around until the end. Let's get started. Seeing the girls come into the room, Naruto stood up to greet them with a smile. Hello girls, it is a pleasure seeing you all so happy. Naruto opened his arms to give them a hug, but only Buttercup hugged him, while Bubbles acted shy and hesitated. Come on man, you don't have to speak like that. You can just act chill and speak freely with us. Only Blossom likes that manner of speaking. Buttercup patted his back like a close friend, like she was a guy friend. She didn't mind Naruto's way of talking, but she would prefer if he talked in a different manner. That would perfectly fit his fighting style. Please ignore that suggestion, Gilgamesh. It would ruin your image and make you look immature. Buttercup, you should stop talking like that as well, and please remove yourself from our guest. It is quite improper. Blossom shook hands with him and denied her sister's suggestion. Bah, he doesn't mind and it is none of your business. Girls, please take a seat. Paulina spoke up to help the situation, and with her words, the girls sat down. Would you like to see the house? Bubbles offered as she looked at him. She had trouble talking to him with the others around, making her feel conscious of the situation. I would love to, but before that allow me to offer my gifts. Naruto took out 3 items from his pocket dimension. There was a giant teddy bear for Bubbles that amplified the positivity of the people around. There was a pair of gauntlets for Buttercup that caused immense pain to the victim. Finally, there was a monster encyclopedia for Blossom that contained data on all monsters in the universe. It would have been a massive book, but Naruto utilized his new abilities of spatial manipulation to create it and made it look like a normal book. The girls loved the gifts and were touched by his gesture, especially because he knew what they would like. How did you get such a book? Blossom asked as she held it and saw the title. It looked very ambitious, and from a cursory glance it contained massive amounts of data that was unknown. Before Naruto could answer, another question was put towards him by the leader of the group. And, how did you find this house? Dexter entered the room, along with Drake, Sarah and Ima. The 4 people that were extremely suspicious of outsiders had entered the room, plus Didi. Calm down little brother, he isn't an enemy. Didi spoke up to make him relax, as she was always there to keep him relaxed when his girlfriend wasn't around. His nature had become extremely harsh and judgmental after the incident. The answer is very simple, my little friends. Naruto smiled as he was covered by his armor, showing his true form to the family. The girls were confused by what was happening, while Paulina and the others became defensive, ready for combat. Relax, I mean no harm. I am here for what I declared at the start of my conquest. I wish to recruit you, so that we can all work at maximum capacity and improve all of humanity. Naruto stood in the middle with the family surrounding him. The family was not a threat to him except for Sarah, because of her witchblade. In the start, Naruto had thought it was a weak weapon to him, but Gaia's knowledge had enlightened him. The witchblade was actually a balance between 2 primal forces of the universe, an entity of light known as the Angelus, and an entity of dark, known as the Darkness. These 2 entities represented the concept of light and darkness. The witchblade was their child, after they had made it to sign a truce after millennia of conflict. Sarah was not very good with the weapon, but she could get lucky with it if they fought, and he could get mortally wounded. With the clone body, it would get cancelled, so he wanted to avoid forcing the weapon to fight him. Sorry about keeping this secret from you girls, but I wished for us to become friends without any bias holding us back. My bond with all of you is real, and I have never really lied to you except for my name. Please don't cry, Bubbles. It pains my heart seeing you cry because of me. Naruto looked towards the girls that were thinking about what was happening and walked closer to Bubbles, who thought it was all a lie. Blossom and Buttercup stood in front of Bubbles looking pointedly at him. You wanted to manipulate us into agreeing. Your friendship was a sham, Emperor. Dexter spoke up as the defense system activated and Naruto was caged inside a force field. Avoid making such false statements, Dexter. I have never extended my hand towards others for impure reasons. I have no need for such tactics, and it goes against my belief. Our meeting was coincidental, and I was just looking around for people to befriend. I never looked for your group purposefully before this day, and I was not going to use our friendship as a point for this recruitment. I can assure of you my honesty. Naruto didn't ignore the jab and replied on that point, as he didn't want to downplay their friendship. It was not a false bond, so moving along with business would have hurt his ideal and proved Dexter's point. Hearing his words and seeing his expressions, the girls were shaken and looked towards the adults. Buttercup and Bubbles stepped forward, seeming to come to a conclusion. They believed his words and their bond. I think he is cool, so why don't we chill? None of us has an issue with Emperor's methods since he shows results and has never stepped out of line. He has been with us for a month, so I think that's enough to get to know a guy. Buttercup backed him up and told the others to relax, which was very ironic since she was the one that others needed to stop most of the time. I also believe in Gilgamesh. He has always been nice to us and his emotions towards are extremely pure. Bubbles was an empath, so she could tell what others were feeling, meaning she was extremely sensitive to the moods of others. Thank you for taking my side, girls. I will definitely get you a better gift next time. My little friends, please look at this objectively. Look and analyze, none of our interactions had any nefarious meaning to it. I am also a person just like you, so I have social needs. It is the reason I interact with like-minded people, especially selfless people. I love people that are willing to go beyond their responsibilities and help the world. That is the simple reason why I interacted with your group. Today marks the start of my real conquest of the world, so I have come for the answer to my offer. Now, apologize for the name-calling. Naruto casually broke the cage and walked towards Dexter, who looked at him calmly. The words made him waver and he realized his mistake. I apologize for my harsh words. Nonetheless, I don't think we have to risk our group and join your cause now. We won't interfere with your purpose and we will join when you are done. Is that good enough for everyone? Dexter was prideful, but he learned from his mistakes and acknowledged them. Utonium looked at Naruto. He was fine with the guy, but he didn't want him close to his daughters. I agree with Dexter. We have no reason to support you at this point and risk our lives. You might still get defeated at any point of this conquest. Also, I want you to avoid playing with the hearts of my little girls. You are not the type of person they should be associating romantically. Utonium gave his opinion and his wife agreed. He also shared his misgivings about the girls' liking for Naruto since the guy was manipulative. Father! The girls cried out with red faces as their crush was exposed. You have many reasons to support me, but before that, let me answer your second query. I am not playing with their hearts and I don't look at them in a romantic manner at the moment. Traditional romance is something I am not very good at, and I accept multiple partners to go with my position as the emperor. I leave the choice to the girls whether they wish to pursue such a thing, but I would recommend someone else if they are looking for a normal romance. My purpose and ideals shape my actions, even romance has to submit to that rule. I know it is uncomfortable to hear, so please forgive me for breaking your hearts in such a way. Naruto looked at the girls that were standing close to their father and answered their curiosity. However, it was not the answer they had been expecting or wanting. All of them hoped that he had at least some emotions for them. Hearing those words, Buttercup was shaken and felt tears form after a long time. Bubbles and Buttercup flew to their rooms to hide their tears while Blossom controlled her emotions and continued observing the situation. I will go and talk to the girls, dear. Ima assured Drake and flew towards her daughters. Naruto didn't like doing such things to people he liked, but they had to know the truth before going further. It would have been worse if they found out after going the mile. Let's take a seat before we continue. Naruto offered as he sat down on the sofa. The atmosphere wasn't cheerful or positive after the girls cried. You have all seen my work and we can all agree that I have been extremely effective. And there is no risk involved as I will be victorious. None of the forces on this planet can stop me. Naruto's confident statements did not change their minds, as they had seen last-minute reversals happen even when the enemy was overwhelming. I see that is not enough. Dexter, you wish to vanquish Darkseid, do you not? Naruto saw that it didn't matter how good his proposition was, the team would only join when the dust had settled. So, he appealed to their emotions. Hearing that name, everyone felt uncomfortable, especially Dexter. We are already prepared for that enemy, just need few years and we will be done with him. Dexter replied as he took of his glasses and massaged his head. His head always hurt when the enemy was mentioned. It was the result of his rage bottled inside that he could not let go. I am sorry, Dexter, you will never vanquish that being with your current path. What you saw and experienced was just an avatar of Darkseid, meaning it was not even 1% of his real power. Darkseid exists above the multiverse and sends his avatar in all universes to wreak chaos and havoc. He is the embodiment of evil in the multiverse, so you can never defeat him through conventional measures. Naruto gave them the alarming news, breaking their spirits. He really didn't want to say it, but they needed to hear the reality before their loyalty fell to him. Seeing and hearing the things about Darkseid, Dexter dropped his glasses from the shock. How can this be? We worked so hard for this, it can't be true. Dee Dee spoke up, looking shaken from the news. All the work that Dexter had put was of no use to such an enemy. Their goal was impossible to achieve. Dexter and Dee Dee timed to catch their breath, so Utonium posed the important question. Can you defeat his real form? I will not lie to you. I am not on that level of power at the moment. However, I can reach beyond that level in a short time. I have existed physically for only 16 years, and I have reached the power to destroy stars by learning and modifying my powers. Soon I will reach the power to erase a solar system, and after that I will go even further. With your help, this process will be accelerated and I will reach the stage where I can put your enemy on trial. I have the backing of Gaia and soon others of her kind would follow, so my rise to the throne is inevitable. Naruto answered the question in honest terms and even put his physical age down, so they could see how fast his powers were growing. Just as expected, his answer was shocking. None of them thought Naruto was 16 years old or where he stood in power. Will you allow me to confirm your statement? Utonium asked, and Naruto approved as he was covered by a glass container. Naruto released his energy at its best, and Utonium got the results from it. They analyzed the potency of the energy and saw that it was growing. However, they couldn't see his body. This body is an avatar of mine, my real body is on a different planet. But, you can confirm things later since you will be working with my DNA. I need your expertise on genetic modifications to help me achieve a new level and help me transform the human race. How can I be sure that you will defeat him? Dexter asked as he looked at Naruto, grasping for hope. I am the force of justice and I will never let evil live. We both stand on the opposite side, so our conflict is foreseeable. Dexter, you can trust me and we can achieve this goal. However, without me this goal will never happen. No one will support you on such a grandiose and risky task. Please allow us to discuss this before we give our decision. Utonium asked for some time and they left him alone in the room. The team discussed together for half an hour before Dexter gave him the approval. We will do it and we trust that you will keep your part of the bargain. With those words, Naruto shook hands with them and wished to show them his new territory, but people interfered. Naruto made a clone to talk to the team while walking outside of the house where he was greeted by the Justice League. Greeting Naruto outside the mansion was the Justice League. They had finally located him after a month. The area had been closed off by Green Lantern and Zatanna. Wonder Woman, Superman, Ultra Woman, Flash, Martian Manhunter, Hawk Girl, Red Tornado and Black Lightning had gathered to subdue him. While the other members were somewhere else and Swamp Thing didn't wish to fight Naruto since the Parliament of Green supported him. However, Naruto wasn't worried, and July walked outside into the garden casually. I expected you guys to figure out a way earlier, but you failed my expectations. I didn't think your teamwork was so atrocious, my little friends. Naruto created a wooden throne and sat down as he criticized their effectiveness. Naruto knew it was almost impossible to locate him. But, it was possible. The Justice League could never locate him individually. They needed to focus the abilities together. After a month of tinkering and analyzing Naruto's energy that was collected from Gordon by Batman, they found a solution. They mixed up Martian Manhunter, Superman and Zatanna's abilities to locate him. Superman contributed with his supervision, Eminem contributed with his mind reading and Zatanna with her energy senses. With all three abilities in one place, they were able to locate Naruto by comparing data from all abilities. Otherwise, Superman couldn't see him and Zatanna couldn't cover the planet or separate him from the world. Even Eminem couldn't find his mind because of the magical barriers. The plan came into being because of Batman's quick thinking, but Naruto wasn't wrong about their teamwork since the team had rarely combined their abilities in such a manner. It is a testament of your ability to hide, Emperor. We were starting to think that you were the Emperor of Rats with how deep you hide. Zatanna dished out in a calm tone as she had been frustrated by the man and his words really struck a chord. Ha ha ha, thank you for the kind words and I tried to excel at everything so it was expected. Regardless, you could have waited patiently, and I would have visited soon. What's the rush? Did you decide to join? Naruto chuckled as he got up and started walking like he was talking to his subjects. Emperor, please surrender before this goes any further. We believe you are a kind person, but you have already started walking a wrong path. It is extremely clear that you abhor every being that has committed a major crime. You don't consider them worthy of a life or a second chance. Your torture and rampant killing will only continue. You are leading humanity on a warpath. We can never allow such a thing. Superman spoke up before any other members took out their frustration. He liked Naruto and didn't want him to walk such a dark path. It was inevitable that Naruto would someday lose his patience and kill when questioned. He had already promised to kill everyone without a second chance once he was the ruler. It wasn't hard to imagine how many people would die with that rule in place, as millions could disappear in a single event. I am disappointed in your cowardice. Why can you never think further than just a fistfight with the next enemy? Why are you people such simpletons? Why does it feel like that you care more for the criminal than the innocent citizens of the world? Your belief that I might step out of line just shows that you have no confidence in your abilities to keep me in check. The fact that you think anyone would need a second chance after the conquest is extremely disrespectful to this emperor. Do you think anyone would dare take the wrong path with me on the throne? The proof is around you that even now people are dropping the selfish mindset and I have yet to even ascend. And the final point, you have really shown your short-term thinking. I expected more from you people, but you are blinded by the death of some worthless maggots. I am not taking the world on a warpath, as we are already on that path. Your defensive strategy has only one end, destruction. Naruto spoke to them in a cold tone for the first time, and it really hit them hard. His aura was messing with them, making them want to submit. Naruto walked as he spoke and showed them the results that we're not focusing on. He even showed them data on threats that were coming and how the planet only had some years to survive. The survival chance from those events was minuscule. You can't decide for the world. Stop, I can decide for the world. Zatanna. Tell your friends what does the world think. I can tell you that 90% of the world is ready for my ascension to the throne, and they are happy with my decisions. My little friends, I won't ascend until I have the majority votes. I will have the world vote to decide whether I rule or I do not. And you can count the votes when it happens. Or will you continue insisting that my path is dangerous and destructive? Don't be so paranoid like our bat friend, he has issues. Green Lantern decided to participate in the battle of words. I don't really have an issue with your executions, just the torture. However, that's not the main issue. I want to know what you plan for the Green Lantern Corps. You do realize that you will initiate a war with them if you start conquering the universe. I like your goal and charisma, but going against the Green Lanterns is extremely dangerous. What are we doing now? Think about that for a moment. You mean to negotiate with the Lanterns? Superman answered as he understood what Naruto was saying. He'd always been diplomatic with everyone first, so he wasn't going to just attack people willy-nilly. Yes, I will talk to them and I believe we can come to an easy understanding. They wish to have a semblance of order in this chaotic universe and I wish to rule it in a proper manner. Our goals align and none of them have an issue with my type of rule. Tell me, what kind of assurance do you require to avoid this pointless conflict? Naruto stopped near the small pond with the fishes and sat down to put his hand inside the water. With his words and sincerity, most of the members were willing to listen to him. Only the kill count kept rearing its ugly head. Will you allow me to confirm everything with my lasso of truth? Wonder Woman stepped forward to present an answer to their dilemma. She had seen things happen over the month and unlike the others, she was impressed by the progress. Naruto had done the right thing and he was walking the best path. Though she couldn't deny her friend's misgivings about letting such a powerful being rule over them. Use it, and confirm my words. Naruto didn't deny her request and took hold of the lasso. The team once again asked the questions and confirmed the truth with him. It assured them of his current state. However, the future was still a problem. According to what they understood, Naruto was getting too powerful and was already beyond them. If he changed after a decade or two, none of them would survive against him. So, stopping him then was a pipe dream. It was an extremely difficult decision and the JL decided to postpone their judgment. The team was divided in their opinions, so they needed to discuss in greater detail since they agreed that the current version wasn't a problem. The only problem had been the killing, so Naruto convinced them to look at it in a different manner. Naruto wasn't judging people as a vigilante but as a ruler of the world. He was the emperor chosen by the people. That statement wouldn't have worked 1 month before the conversation, but now it worked as they all saw the results and how the people reacted. Naruto's rise was desired by the people. When once a republic is corrupted, there is no possibility of remedying any of the growing evils but by removing the corruption and restoring its lost principles. Every other correction is either useless or a new evil. Whatever you do to deal with one of man's flaws, it creates another problem. But you try to get the best trade-off you can get, and that's the best you can hope for. Naruto left them with those words and disappeared while the barrier was cancelled with his abilities. Flash also realized that Naruto had the Speed Force and was using it on a higher scale. That fact further solidified his position as superior and made them fear the time when he might lose control. Nonetheless, the meeting had concluded on a positive note, and the team felt that Naruto was worthy of their trust. They just intended to check the future with the help of the time machine. While the JL discussed on the topic, Naruto continued his recruitment process after his real body finished playing around with Conan. He decided to make a visit the island of Themyscira to recruit the Amazons and Hercules. He expected resistance because of the target's nature and the strength possessed by Hercules, which could rival his own. Themyscira, also known as Paradise Island, is the second home of the Amazons, named after their prior home in what is now modern-day Turkey. The island has undergone several changes in location and appearance over the years. The immortal Amazons were created over 3,000 years ago to teach the merits of virtue, love, and equality to the men of Patriarch's world. And they founded the city-state of Themyscira in ancient Greece, in a part of modern Turkey. Ares, the immortal of war, a chief opponent of the Amazons, manipulated his half-brother Heracles to gather forces and attack Themyscira, where Heracles seduced and ravaged the Amazon queen Hippolyta. His forces succeeded in ransacking Themyscira and enslaving the Amazons. Through strength and savage cunning, the Amazons freed themselves, slaughtering most of their captors. Soon after, Antiope led a force of Amazons off into Greece, seeking vengeance on Heracles. As decreed by the immortals, Hippolyta led the remaining Amazons to a remote island, where they were tasked with guarding Doom's doorway as punishment for their failures as teachers. They named the island itself Themyscira, after their fallen capital, and began new lives, erecting buildings and monuments and perfecting their skills as artisans and warriors. For centuries, the Amazons lived in what they felt a perfect state of harmony with their surroundings. Occasionally, the Nereides would bring to the shores of Themyscira young infants who would have drowned otherwise in accidents. These infants would wash up on the shores of Paradise Island and be tutored spiritually in Amazonian ideals. A process of which is colloquially called sending forth, wherein one of the tribeswomen act as a surrogate mother-teacher figure to the young, and would then teach them their ways to protect the world when required. The immortals had granted the Amazons the fountain of youth and power, which allowed them to live forever and continue their duty. However, not everything was as it seemed. The Amazons didn't just adopt children, as they seduced and raped men to conceive children of their own. The raped men usually ended up dead after the deed. If that wasn't bad enough, the Amazons drowned or buried alive the male children. It was the dark secret that Wonder Woman didn't know about from her mother, and it was something the Amazons had only recently stopped doing. It had only stopped few decades before the current date because of Hephaestus, the immortal of the Forge. The man had been helping out the women and realized what they were doing, so he decided to make the male children his assistants in the Forge. The Amazons were ruled by Queen Hippolyta. Hippolyta's history began tens of thousands of years ago. In ancient times, there was a caveman who, embittered over being maimed by a tiger and driven from his tribe, encountered a woman in a cave and brutally murdered her after she offered him some compassion. The first woman murdered by a man's hatred. Thousands of years later, the Greek pantheon held a meeting around 1300s BC, convened by the female immortals. They desired to create a race of humans that would champion their ideals. Zeus, in his arrogance, decreed that mankind would never forget the immortals, and that it did not matter if there were champions or not. Ares did not desire anyone promoting peace. The other male immortals did not seem interested, and Hera did not wish to go against her husband. Therefore, it fell to the other 5 primary Greek female immortals. Traveling into the underworld, the immortals came to the Well of Souls, the place where the souls of all the women murdered by man's hatred were gathered. They drew forth these souls, dropping them like great tears into a lake in Greece, all save one, a very special soul. The souls mixed with the clay and stone of the lakebed to form the Amazons, women reborn. The first to emerge from the waters was Hippolyte, the second would be her sister, Antiope. The immortals made themselves known to the Amazons, appointing Hippolyta and Antiope to be the two queens of them. They decreed that the Amazons were to spread the message of Gaia, a message of peace, tolerance, and equality. As a symbol of their devotion, Hippolyta and Antiope were each given a golden girdle. Hippolyta and Antiope lead the Amazons for years, creating a great city called Themyscira. Their efforts to spread peace and equality were frustrated, however, as few men trusted them, especially after Ares kept stirring up trouble. As the years went by, more and more they remained isolated in their city. Their numbers increased by freeing women from slavery. Doom would come to the city in the form of Heracles, the son of Zeus. In the midst of his 12 labors, still suffering from Hera's madness upon him, Heracles and his friend Theseus came to the Amazons. One of Heracles' labors was to retrieve the girdle of Hippolyta. Arriving at the Amazon city with an army behind them, Heracles demanded Hippolyta surrender the girdle. Hippolyta refused, marching out of the city and offering to fight Heracles for it. Heracles was defeated by the Amazon queen, and the humble Demi offered peace and to unite with the Amazons in an alliance. The Amazons let Heracles and his men into the city, and a night of revelry ensued. Antiope fell helplessly in love with Theseus, and Hippolyta fell for Heracles pretty hard, too hard. In his madness, Heracles drugged Hippolyta, raping and assaulting her in her slumber. And when she awoke, she was in chains. Heracles' army bound, beat, and raped the Amazons, tearing down their city and stealing their treasures. Heracles left the city with Hippolyta's girdle and some of his men, leaving the majority behind to guard the Amazons. Theseus was gone as well, although it's not clear if he participated in the raping and pillaging or if he left beforehand. After a vision of one of the immortals let her find her strength, Hippolyta broke out of her cell and set to work freeing her sisters. More and more Amazons were freed, and a running battle began all over the city. Hippolyta watched as many of her sisters succumbed to bloodlust, enjoying the bloody slaughter of the men. They fought until all the men lie dead. Afterwards, Antiope was still enraged. She insisted that they march on Athens itself, killing all in their path until they reached Athens, where they could take back the girdle from Heracles' dead hand. But Hippolyta said no. She said that such a path of bloody revenge was not the Amazon way, and that to go down that way would lead only to destruction. Antiope could not be strayed. Feeling betrayed by not only her lover, but by her gods, she cast her girdle at Hippolyta's feet, declaring that henceforth she asked nothing of Olympus. Half the Amazons left with her, the other half stayed with Hippolyta. It was the last time the sisters would ever see each other. In the midst of the ruins, the immortals now appeared again. They were displeased with the Amazons, declaring that they had failed in their sacred mission. Now the very name, Amazon, would be associated with death and destruction, not peace and equality. The Amazons must have a penance. They were each given a pair of steel bracelets to wear at all times, forever a reminder of their capture and humiliation. Then their bodies and souls were purified, and they began their journey. Poseidon himself parted the sea, and the Amazons walked along the bottom until they came to an island that the immortals had removed from the circles of the world, Paradise Island. There they built the new city-state of Themyscira, and were to be the guardians of a great evil that lay beneath the island. As long as they remained on the island, they would be immortal, though they could be killed, and some were over the many long years and the many battles they had to fight against the evil that would try to escape. For over 3,000 years here they remained, with Hippolyta their queen all that time. Hippolyta had a daughter called Diana, also known as Wonder Woman. Unknown to Diana, she wasn't brought to life through giving a soul to a stone sculpture. She was the real daughter of Zeus and Hippolyta, making her a demi with immense powers. These powers were sealed by the bracelets that Diana wore, but she was unaware of that fact. Other than Diana, there was Donna Troy. Donna was created to be a playmate for the young Wonder Woman by the sorceress Megala, who used a magical mirror to create a duplicate of Diana. Though with her own personality, she was abducted by Dark Angel, who mistook her for the real Diana, and cursed her to experience a cycle of countless tragic lives, given the name Donna Troy as a cruel joke to her origins. But it would not be until the intervention of Wonder Woman, Hippolyta, and the Flash years later that she would learn this. In one of the lives she ended up living, Donna was orphaned by her birth mother, Dorothy Hinckley, a dying unwed teen who had given her up for adoption. After Donna's adoptive father Carl Stacy was killed in a work-related accident, her adoptive mother Faye Stacy gave her up for adoption again, unable to raise the toddler because of mounting expenses. Donna remembered being rescued from a fire by the Titan Rhea, who, being one of the mythological Titans, brought her to New Cronus and raised her as one of 12 Titan seeds, orphans from various planets who would have died if Rhea had not saved them. Each one was given the name of a place that worshipped the Titans, and Donna was given the last name of Troy in homage to the ancient city. She was returned to Earth at age 13, where her memories of New Cronus were erased until such a time that she would return and take her place among the seeds as a Titan. When Donna experienced having superhuman powers and abilities, she adopted the identity of Wonder Girl. Donna became one of the founding members of the Teen Titans, even suggesting the name of the group from a residual memory. She married Terry Long, a college professor, and soon became pregnant. This incited the Teen Titans group from the future to confront her, claiming that her son would threaten the future as Lord Chaos. Donna voluntarily gave up her powers to prevent this. She later requested for her powers to be returned but was denied. She was inducted into the Darkstars and rejoined the Teen Titans as a Darkstar. Terry later divorced Donna, citing that her superhero role put the family in danger and gained sole custody of their son. She turned to teammate Kyle Rayner for comfort, but left him after Terry, Robert, and Jenny Long, Terry's daughter from his first marriage, were killed in a tragic car accident. After that incident that took place just 2 years before Naruto's arrival, Donna left the human world and lived on the island. She had been brought to Themyscira by Diana for healing, as Donna had been slipping, and it was a matter of time that she would have ended her life. Even after all those years, Donna hadn't fully healed from those scars and blamed herself for the death of her family. She had been careless and immature. She could have given them protection easily but never thought about it until it was too late. After Donna, there was another figure on the island that was extremely important. It was Diana's twin brother Jason. Just like the other males, he couldn't be allowed on Paradise Island. It was a rule that none could disobey, so Hippolyta gave him away to a trusted individual. Jason ended up in the hands of Hercules and was trained by him, before the duo returned back to the island. They were living on the outskirts of the island just like Hephaestus. Diana had come to know about him and was gone from hero business because of it. Unlike the others, Naruto was sure these people wouldn't accept his rule through words because he intended to punish them for their criminal past. It wasn't just that alone. They wouldn't follow him because he was a man, and all of them were loyal to other female immortals beside Gaia. Naruto had no backing from the other immortals at this point, though it was obvious they would pitch in soon. Nonetheless, he wasn't worried and was actually itching for a fight. As the Emperor, he had to keep up his image and act patiently. Throwing fists was a real image breaker and would ruin his authenticity. Getting back to the situation, it had been some hours since his meeting with Justice League, and Naruto had personally visited the island. He couldn't send a clone to meet Hephaestus or fight Hercules. Naruto wasn't alone this time, and he brought along some backup. Supergirl, Alessa, and Spirit King Centurion were with him to provide support and take care of the weaker enemies. Spirit King was the new name that Centurion had taken after his transformation, since he also had a new appearance. He hadn't participated in the last battle because his meditation hadn't finished. He was above all the other members combat-wise and powers before Dr. Mist joined. Alessa was the girl from Silent Hill that Naruto managed to convince before coming to the island. She'd been unable to hide from him since Naruto was able to copy her powers as well, and infiltrated her pocket dimension. Talking to her directly, Naruto healed Alessa from her mental and physical scars. She had been sealed to the city, and her soul had been split in two by a demonic cult. Naruto gathered her good side and mixed it with the evil side, making her whole again. She'd lived for decades but hadn't aged a day physically or mentally. Alessa was like a little girl of around 12 or 13, and she decided to follow him after meeting him. She hadn't met a person directly in years, and the last experience had been terrible. Naruto was very sweet, and his positive emotions managed to win her heart. Her good side had a good mother, but she was mortal, and Alessa didn't want to endanger her at the moment, so she decided to make the world peaceful for her sake. It was an instant friendship, but Alessa decided to follow him and Naruto treated her like a little sister. Her powers had increased by a rank after healing and Naruto's help, making her the strongest member of the group. The 4 individuals floated above the island and flew down with Naruto at the front. There was a dimensional barrier blocking the way, but they passed through it easily as Naruto saw through its making and destroyed it. It was like the air shattered like glass and rained down with them as they landed on the beach. It sent alarms blaring on the island. You are truly dramatic with your entries. Do you not get tired of acting supreme? Kara smiled as she saw his actions and realized that Emperor always had a dramatic entrance. All his moves were extremely calculated and theatrical. I love making a strong impression. Naruto replied with pleased tone as he indicated the Amazons gathered on the beach that almost dropped their weapons at their appearance. The barrier was something grand. A gift from the immortals, and it had been broken without any resistance. It cast a huge shadow on their souls seeing such a scene. The barrier had been strong enough to block of most intruders, but Naruto's eyes allowed him to counter it without overpowering it. Kara could see the benefits of making such entries, as it seemed to help avoiding fights. Naruto didn't go any further, and released a wave of energy to signal the people of his presence, while teleporting the island to Jupiter to avoid the JL's attention and interference. Without the barrier, the teleportation went without a hitch and the island dwellers saw their world change. Just as the process finished, which took less than a minute, the queen arrived along with Donna Troy and her entourage. Looking at the sky, Hippolyta was alarmed and enraged. Identify yourself and present your reason for such an act of war. Her voice was filled with majesty and commanding. It was further enhanced by her beautiful and noble looks. Her appearance was very much similar to Diana and Donna, with long black hair and silver eyes. Supergirl, what are you doing here? Donna saw Kara and was shocked seeing her with Emperor. She wasn't living in the outside world, but Diana kept her informed, and she could even communicate telepathically with her sister. Supergirl didn't speak and let Naruto take the lead while she gave a nod to Donna. I am the Emperor of Mankind, Queen Hippolyta. I am here to free you from your cage and allow you to live in the vast world outside. I intend to expand the region covered by humanity, and for that purpose, your girls can play a strong role along with the other chosen fighters of the new era. I have the guidance of Gaia in my decisions, so approach the subject carefully. Naruto replied as he walked closer to Hippolyta, towering over her menacingly. Just like Donna, the queen also knew about the happenings of the outside world. She just wanted to confirm that it was the real person, and she hadn't expected him to come to her island. We respect Mistress Gaia deeply, but we shall deny your offer. We have not received any command from our masters. Return us to our region, and we shall forget about this act of war. Hippolyta wouldn't have been merciful normally, but because of Gaia she allowed it. This was not an option. I command you to submit and repay your countless sins. The deaths and sexual assaults of countless innocent lives are on your hand. You cannot just walk away without a punishment. What you did in the foregone era wasn't even close to what you continued doing after arriving on this island. You are vile creatures that never stood for justice and peace, except in your deluded minds. Submit and accept your punishment before it becomes worse. Naruto's tone became cold and harsh as he showed them their place and what he thought of them. He didn't look at them as guardians of the world, as they were just criminal scum that needed some retribution. Seeing the screens popping and showing their criminal activities, Supergirl and Donna were shocked and disgusted. They had never thought that the Amazons had been doing such a thing. Naruto pushed Hippolyta was his stature and forced her to walk back while the other girls stepped to the side. They were alarmed by the outsider knowing their secrets and fearful of his tone. However, Hippolyta was enraged that the outsider showed their dark deeds. She had stopped it and didn't want her girls to know about it. Seeing the look of disgust on Donna was painful, and she knew that Diana would know about it soon. You dare make mockery of us, Amazons, dispose of the intruders. Hippolyta commanded as she was about to attack Naruto, but found herself smashed into the ground. Naruto's hand covered her face and head as he went forth and smashed her into the ground with extreme force. It would have caused the island to shatter, but Naruto had enhanced it with his powers, so there wasn't even a dent, and Hippolyta received immense damage from such an act that her brain was rattled. It would be better if you called off the girls before they get hurt, Hippolyta. Your resistance is futile, and your masters have abandoned you long ago. Naruto brought her up by the head and looked her in the eyes as she tried gathering her bearing. Before she could respond or Donna could attack, a giant of a man landed on the beach. Tesk, the great emperor bullying some weak women. Why don't you drop the woman and meet someone your size? The tone was filled with a sense of superiority and arrogance, along with excitement. It was the voice of the man known as Hercules, the son of Zeus. He was a being that had lived for thousands of years and gone through countless trials. His life had been a tragedy through the interference of Hera and his own father. It led to the death of his family at his hands, leading to madness. He had killed and betrayed countless friends along the way, only to be rewarded with a position on Olympus as the immortal of strength. He represented the concept of strength, but he wasn't the concept itself. Shazam got his super strength from Hercules, so it was obvious how powerful the man was. He was physically capable manhandling the League, meaning he was a worthy foe for the current Naruto. Look at you, the mighty queen getting saved by her rapist. What a grand achievement. Now, before you are forced to submit, speak carefully. Do you really want it to go this way and not my way? Naruto looked at Hercules with disgust and disdain before turning back to his victim of domestic violence. Hippolyta glared back at him and looked towards Hercules, the man she had once loved and then hated for his crimes against her people. She still hated the man from the bottom of her heart, however she couldn't do anything to him. She had to compromise with him, and allow him to live near their territory as the immortals had commanded such. Hercules on his part didn't look angry or offended, he stood there casually along with Jason. Jason was her son, but he didn't love or care for her either, as she had abandoned him and never looked back to check on his health. He was jealous of his sister's life because he had been living as a fisherman, and only in the last 5 years did he have extravagant life because of Hercules. We will not submit, no matter what you do. What a loyal subject, but sadly the loyalty won't save you today. Everyone here shall experience the weight of their sins, and all shall submit to the rule of the Emperor. Jason, will you step outside or will you interfere? Naruto turned to the only innocent person present beside Donna. Jason was surprised by the question, and looked towards Hercules. He wanted to show that he wasn't a coward, but a strong and brave fighter. I shall not back down against any enemy. Jason showed his resolve to follow and support Hercules, seeing that his master was definitely going to fight. What about you, Miss Donna? Will you fight for these criminals or will you step back and let me show them the consequences of their hubris? Before you answer, please take into account what they have done to others and not the things they did for you. Even the vilest creatures can be the loving friends or family members. Those good deeds don't discount their sins. I understand that this is a difficult decision to make, but understand that I shall not kill a single soul here. My punishment has never left any destructive scar on the sinners, you already know that. I hope that you will sit down and wait for the end of this fight because I wish to converse with you. After learning about you, I wish to help you overcome your problems and allow you to live a happy life. I can't allow selfless people to live such depressing lives, it is heresy. It can't be allowed to exist, as such is the end of evil and not the light. I shall not stand for it. Please allow yourself happiness, it was not your fault and everyone makes mistakes. They have forgiven you and wish you a blissful life. Naruto let go of Hippolyta and walked towards Donna, who was standing close by with her sword. His words and expression really shook her heart, especially those last words. She wanted to strike him for bringing up those things, but she saw their souls behind him. They agreed with his words, and she was showered with Naruto's adoration. The strong positive emotions seemed to destroy her desire to fight and her inner darkness. Donna always had the choice to meet the souls but was scared to confirm her fears. But seeing them here and now helped overcome that fear. Her inner darkness lessened and the bad memories were overcome instead of being pushed down. She could have always made some changes in her life to avoid such an end, but in those times there had been so much going on and she had been young. It was not her fault. Even her husband hadn't brought it up, and none of the others had thought of it either. No one thought about accidents, and only after the death of her family did the other heroes take countermeasures as they realized they couldn't be everywhere at the right time. Nonetheless, Donna didn't back down. She saw her mother and didn't wish to abandon her to some outsider, even if she had been part of the wicked. It was decades ago, and she had changed. Thank you for your help, but I shall not give up on my mother. Please, leave them in peace. Donna was not ungrateful and tried to ask for peaceful resolution. I see. We shall resolve this with violence. Naruto stepped back and shook his head before the participants felt a push, and they went through a portal. Naruto didn't wish to destroy the island or the planet. He could keep the damage in check with weak individuals, but for someone like Hercules, he couldn't afford to play around. Alessa, take good care of them, and make sure they understand morality. Naruto turned to his little sister and gave her the command to take care of the Amazons along with their queen. Her powers made her a literal nightmare, and with Naruto's knowledge, it had been further enhanced. Naruto also improved his powers of fear-mongering from Alessa, so his dark skills were on a new level after getting her knowledge. Yes, Mr. Emperor. Alessa smiled as she walked through the portal and decided to punish the women for what they had done. She really disliked people like the Amazons with their clear lack of morals and uncaring attitude for outsiders. Her enemies had been people like them, people that thought they were superior and that everything done by them was right. That is one scary girl. Are you sure about leaving her with them? Kara asked as she saw Alessa leave with a sinister smile. She is a cute little girl, Kara. You don't have to worry about them, as they will experience worse once the battle is over. Your tone can get really scary. Are you okay? Kara asked, as she hadn't seen Naruto speak to criminals before, so she was worried about his mental health. Ha ha ha, thank you for your kind intentions. And there is no problem. I have different way of talking to people. I like good people and I hate criminals. It shows in my tone and mannerisms. It will take some time getting used to that. It really made you look evil, especially with all the women crying. Kara shared her opinion and realized that none of the others really brought up things like Naruto. His approach was really geared towards diplomacy and non-aggression. Plus, his approach took notice of the damage the battle might cause. Spreading fear always makes you look evil, but this stays confined to the enemies of mine. Will you take care of Donna? I will talk to her. Kara didn't like the idea of fighting someone she knew, but it was inevitable. It was better for her to go or Donna might experience more pain. She flew through a portal without pause and Spirit King also flew through a portal that led to Jason. Are you done? Hercules asked as he was standing there, looking at the theatrics. I am done. Let's go to our battlefield. Naruto gave him a glance and walked through a portal while Hercules followed him without a word. The man didn't think that Naruto would send him far away because of his tone and mannerism. Plus, he could return to the island in a second. And guys, this is the end. I hope you guys enjoyed well. Until next time, peace.